15th, called Personalized Customer Strategy in the Age of AI. And I've been in the field for about 30 years. I ran McKinsey's digital marketing practice. I was chief marketing officer at Edleman. So I've been around this space for a while. So pleasure to be with you. You know, the practitioners of CX is not an easy thing to do. So I have a lot of respect, having been in the saddle myself.
Yeah, my name's Christopher King, and I'll start off by saying I'm not with Blue Sky Robotics. I wish I was smart enough to be a robotics engineer, but that is not who I am. I actually am the president and CEO of a family entertainment brand called Monster Mini Golf. We have 50 locations between the US and Canada, so a multi-unit operation. I think I bring a unique perspective here because we really focus on the human touch. We have the appropriate tech, but we still kind of call ourselves, you know, high touch, low tech, because the human connection and the psychology of being age appropriate in our form of entertainment is really, really important. So I'm the CEO and president of the brand. I'm also a multi-unit operator, so we stay very close to our product. I'm fortunate enough to live here in Charlotte. My wife and I moved here 7 years ago. We've expanded to 3 personal Monster Mini Golf locations in Charlotte. We have one in Charlotte, we have one in Gastonia. We opened our latest in Monroe about a month ago, and we're already signing a lease to do a 4th in Huntersville. So we've moved here to aggressively expand the brand personally in the Carolinas. My wife runs our local stores, which keeps me very rooted in our operations for our franchisees. But I own a brand with partners, so I'm not Blue Sky Robotics. I wish I was.
Maybe it's a sign to get robotics involved.
Well, I think I could do a dance or something like that.
There you go. Hello, my name is Daniel Parker. I'm Technical Services Manager for Kodak Moments and Travel and Leisure. They are divisions of Kodak Alaris. So what we do is we provide retail imaging photo systems that fulfill photos at retail locations. We also do theme parks, resorts, and souvenir destination photography across the whole globe. So if you think where you want to get your photo taken of any special moment that you have, your Kodak moment, and then also any place you want to get your photo taken, capture that moment, where you would go on vacation, again, theme parks, resorts, destinations. So we help fulfill those memories, and then also I help support those systems across all of those divisions. So
you want to talk about a human touch, creating memories for a lifetime. I love that.
Absolutely.
And other Daniel, not to be prejudiced towards my fellow Daniel, but I did have a question to start off with for you, and then going down the line. How do we manage this conversational AI revolution alongside the human touch, including things like order tracking, refunds, and the customer experience? Where's the balance there?
So the balance is we're not trying to take away the human touch. The human is always going to be involved. So our experience with conversational AI, everybody's heard about it. We are using a GPT type model, so it has more native language support as well. The RAG models, you've heard all the different terms. So we're utilizing all that technology to help triage, provide that kind of simulated human interaction, but the human's always going to be involved to approve for, say, refunds, escalations. So transferring to a live agent, getting those escalations to, get that human resolution for it. So they're always going to be involved. I can't see that ever changing with conversational AI or any other type of AI implementation across your different industries and also your different functional groups within your cover.
So your philosophy is more augment the human, don't replace the human.
Augment the human, enhance the experience, and then also enable that human to be able to work on other things, right? Not those repetitive tasks, the things that can be done via machine learning.
I love that. I love that. Well, Chris, you kind of have an interesting entrance there. What's your perspective on this balance?
We've probably been the slowest to connect with AI in our industry because it is so human-led. I mean, for you to understand that, I'll talk a little bit about us. It's not just mini golf. It's an all black light environment. There's animatronic moving monsters. There's personalized art. So we own the construction team. So they actually do a storyboard. So on the walls of each mini golf are famous people, places, industry that came from that community. So it really tugs at the heartstrings. We don't train to hand a mini golf club. We have a DJ booth on our golf course. We train our people to play games. We come to your hole. So it's really an immersive entertainment experience. We actually say mini golf isn't our product. Entertainment's our product. Mini golf is simply the way we entertain. So it's training our team to be It's really a philosophy of training, age appropriate, connected to the human, guide them every step of the way. So with that, the AI is presented, I would say, a little bit of a challenge because it's so far disconnected from our core philosophy of what we do. So we've really used it just to train on either the marketing or the communication side. So even the ChatGPT on a Yelp or a Google review, you can't just use what it gives you every time because then it looks like it's just regurgitated. It's using the word dazzling in everything. We're not going to say dazzling every time we talk to somebody. So it's really training the human, how to participate and kind of intertwine that technology and then how you're speaking to your guests. And that speaking is happening outside of our four walls. Inside the four walls, we have complete control. Outside the four walls is where we have to start leveraging that AI, but we still have to, like you just said, keep it really connected. The human has to be totally involved, so it comes through sincere and it comes through natural.
Let me jot this down. Don't overuse dazzling. So all my dating profiles, that's what was wrong. Okay, very good. Now, so David, what's your perspective? You kind of have a meta view, I think.
What's that?
Oh, well, I was going to say David kind of has a meta view of this problem.
Yeah. So with my clients, the conversational AI provides a capability to bring data together that often for humans is really hard to do. They are using large language models. Let's not just say ChatGPT off the general internet. A lot of companies now can start using those kinds of tools to create a private experience where, let's take a technology company, let's take a health insurer, where somebody can call in, and frankly, in many cases, they may not want to deal with a person. They just want to get quick answers. And these systems can actually bring together data from a lot of internal databases. They can understand how you've been using the product, what your last calls were to customer service. They can look up the product information. All of that, if a rep had to do it, and I have sat with reps in call centers, could be as many as 11 screens that they have to pull up. I have seen that in action. These tools now can actually bring that all together. They write code in response to what somebody's asking, go out, get the information, bring it back, figure out what actually needs to be conveyed, and then use generative AI to actually create an answer. That's powerful and very capable for a person. Even if it's not a human, it can be even more useful than a human. But then also, if you want to give that capability to a rep now can be empowered with that if somebody wants to talk and provide a way more specific, faster, accurate answer to somebody. So these LLMs, it's not just, we can't just think about AI as the general ChatGPT with the hallucinations, all that. There's a lot of different ways to deploy this technology that can actually bring somebody's data to bear in the answer and can help in terms of providing dramatically better service.
Yep, so, what David is saying here, I think to some extent people have gotten lost in some of the hype. You've heard something like, ChatGPT passed the bar exam or something like that, and people think, oh wow, but we're nowhere near there in the adoption cycle for conversational AI. On the other hand, there's about 8 problems from a CX perspective that have been perennially almost intractable for companies that generative AI is helping people to solve. Some of our friends talked about one of them yesterday, the whole notion of just even training, training reps in training agents, right? The whole notion of using simulations to train those agents. And actually, instead of pulling people offline to role play with the agent, or something along those lines, you can use these simulations so that agents can actually, practice a number of times until they reach a certain level of proficiency. They can go through a variety of variations of the same type of call because they might encounter a number of different scenarios. And so you can have this type of training capability with simulations, and the economics are completely different than if you're pulling people offline, right? So, that is a very, practical aspect. Or what about digital assistants, for example? Okay, think about in banks where the apps are a little bit more complex, right? And people may not adopt using the app because they don't know how to use the app. They don't know what's in it. They don't know how to use it. But now, if that person can interact, with the app in a conversational way, it makes them feel like they have their own personal coach showing them how to use the app. So in one of these cases I give, it's kind of like, augmenting the human. In the other one, it's kind of like, in a way, taking the place of the human to some extent as the coach. But, both of those actually are personalizing the experience for the customer and helping to move the needle. But those are very practical applications. And those are 2 of the 8, perennially intractable problems that AI is helping companies to solve. And I'll try to hit on a few of the other ones as we make our way through this conversation.
I love it. See, Marbue, there's nobody that understands the human side better than you, so we're going to dig into this. I love that. Now, Chris, I want to dig into a quote I heard from you. First of all, Marbue, do you need more room, or can you guys see Marbue okay? Okay, very good. So Chris, you've talked about this sort of struggle to maintain the human connection in this kind of unique line of family entertainment. Is this just a personal preference, or do you actually see data proving that this boosts your success, your ROI, etc.?
Data proving that the human connection is aiding, or data proving that AI is helping?
The human connection. For example, for an operator who's looking and saying, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Show me the money.
Yeah, you know what? Our world and technology is wonderful, but it's advancing so fast that, even like the general, minimum wage labor force, they're connected to the phone, so when you, in the service industry, we've become okay with mediocre. We've become okay with mediocre. So anytime that you can go above and beyond mediocre, at a birthday party, our team is trained to remember 20 children's names in 5 minutes and hold them for 2 hours. That's a connection that you don't see anywhere else. So what we really try to do is, we have a saying with our formal training that nobody drives 5 miles to get the mediocre hamburger. When they decide how they're going to spend about $100 on a Saturday of family entertainment, they look at all the places they've been, and that's their ballot, but they're going to choose where they go. We went to this place and that was good. We went to this place and that was good. If we can be better in human connection, then they're going to remember us. Not because our mini golf course has changed or we've done anything different. It's the way we've treated them. It's, if they get a hole-in-one, somebody runs to the DJ booth, hey, what's your name? Susie. Weird Radio broadcasting like Monster Mini Golf. Susie got a hole-in-one on hole 4. Susie's gonna get a prize. So it's that connection that really drives our sales. And the data is behind it. I mean, at any of our locations on a Saturday, there's a 90-minute wait to play the game of mini golf. You don't wait for that unless the ride is worth it. It's like Disney. You wait in long lines. The ride is worth the wait.
There you go.
So that's been just who we are. I'll tell a really cool story. Was when the founders sold myself and 2 partners the brand 2 years ago. Private equity wanted to buy them. They said no. They said, we're going to sell it to our COO, who was me at the time, and we're going to sell it to 2 other franchisees because we believe that the fabric will be destroyed as soon as we make that position. We're not going to chase the money. So they sold it to us knowing that we would keep it intact because that's what had made it successful. Monster Mini Golf's not new. We've been around 20 years and we've grown organically because we're a support and training company. We're not a sales company. So where we have adopted the AI, and it makes a lot of sense, is marketing. We're leaving, in January, we're leaving a traditional marketing company, and we're moving to an AI where then the franchisee has the power. They put in their budgeted amount of money, and whether it's digital, whether it's display ads, whether it's Google, whether it's social, the AI is going to learn and distribute the money where it's producing the best result. So we're leveraging the AI, but it's not our product. It's to support, the exterior, to bring new footsteps into the building, or then to communicate with the humans after they leave the building. That's because the human touch is really our core product. It's what drives our revenue.
Well, I'm curious with each of our other panelists, how do you react to that? That was very passionate, by the way. I love that. I love the way
That makes perfect sense. I mean, with your being an industry, entertainment-based industry, you have to have that human. You have to make it exciting. Attract those people in, treat them the right way so they come back and become repeat customers, right? That absolutely can. I could see AI being, in a way, helping and, driving your foot traffic to come back in. So absolutely makes sense. There could be some other back-end areas where AI can help with, financial reports and, bubbling up, new suggestions and product suggestions and things like that, which, we're doing as well, right? Using AI, as Marbue said, there's so many areas to be able to utilize it, whether it be, on your online storefront, promoting something, having promotions, right? That kind of thing, having products.
Where we use it on the franchisor side, because we're talking two different ways, is in the sales process, we have AI integrated with our franchise discover, or our FDD, disclosure document. It's a 265-page document. If they want to use AI to do that document, well, that's an efficiency. Even we're now building an AI version of our operations manual for our franchisees. So the support on the franchise side, it can lend a lot to AI, but that's just not the brick and mortar stuff.
Absolutely.
May I piggyback on something that Chris is talking about here, and I love the passion with which he shared that. So I make a statement here that human interactions are not inherently personal, and automated interactions are not inherently impersonal. Okay? I don't know if people have seen these, because I haven't seen them around lately, but they used to put these stickers on PCs that said Intel Inside, right? And that was important because they wanted people to know that the Intel chip was in that machine. Well, I want to tell you something, when people design an automated process, it should be like there's a sticker on it that says human inside. And the reason I'm saying that is because, look, if people have swept the details to make it personal in how they deliver that automation, then it will feel personal when a human interacts with it, right? So I remember, I was at Amazon when we first rolled out a chatbot of any kind. And one of the things it had to be able to do was to be able to recognize, okay, this person who's contacting me, here's the last thing they ordered, or the last 2 or 3 things they ordered. And so when he interacted with that, it immediately brought up, hey, are you contacting me about this? And, I heard somebody at a conference actually say, I needed to contact them about this mirror I bought that was broken. And when I saw the chatbot thing, I didn't want to do it. And then it came up and said, hey, are you contacting us about this mirror? And if there was a problem that it couldn't handle, it automatically escalated it to a human. And then there was a way that it could hand off to a human, and the human could hand off back to it. Now that's a process that has human inside. And it has human inside, you know why? Because everything in Amazon is this whole notion of how do you work backwards from the customer? That's the whole notion of customer obsession, right? And so bottom line is, I'm just saying, when people start thinking about AI, it has to have that concept of human inside. Because if that's the case, then it'll give people the kind of feeling that Chris is talking about, right? But if it doesn't, okay, if it's just automation, I'm sorry, then it's not gonna have that personal touch. By the same token, everybody in this audience here has dealt with a agent or somebody like that was so dismissive of what you were dealing with them about. You know what? You probably didn't care that there was a human in fact, you were probably more frustrated. So again, human interactions are not inherently personal, and automated interactions are not inherently impersonal.
So building on that, one of the key things that make all of this personal is knowing who the person is and actually having data, knowledge, insight about them that you're using in an appropriate way. Think about it right now. All of us are starting to work more and more with brands who use customer information about ourselves to help us get more value. digital brands like Spotify and Uber, but there are probably other more tangible brands every day. And I would actually argue that the next frontier in customer experience is actually competing on personalization, how appropriately you are using someone's information to recognize them, to make it easier for them, to add value. And that is a deliberate decision to use that information in a positive way. And so now we've got to start thinking about what are all the sources of information we have so that when you do call into a rep, they understand that you were just on the app and you couldn't pay your bill. And so you're calling in now because you had a problem on the app. Well, shouldn't the rep immediately know that? There is capability now to make that kind of interchange happen. So thinking about all the ways customer information, so in our book we've got 5 promises of personalization, and what the most foundational is know me. Have a sense. When I was at Aetna, one of the fundamental principles of our brand is that we would recognize our members for who they were, the context. So every time they call in, we would digitize what happened in that interaction, taking the dialogue and turning that into data that goes into someone's file. So we know literally what they called about. Not when a rep did some check boxes, we actually brought that to bear. And if there was follow-up needed, we would take that. So where are you thinking about customer information actually getting injected in a positive way into the process so the customer sees how you're using that data for their benefit?
I love that, David. That's a perfect segue because this is a handpicked question just for you, and then I want to hear from the rest of the panel.
Okay.
What do most companies miss or get wrong when they start considering implementing an AI tool to improve the customer experience?
Yeah, I think most of the time they're not thinking about the customer experience. I think most of the time they're thinking about a tool that they can use versus stepping back and saying, what are the compromises that people are facing in the way they are dealing with us or in the way they are trying to get something done? And how can we break the compromise? That's how value is often created. You're breaking compromises. And too often they're just looking to get efficiency, or in the case of a lot of the areas I deal with personalization, they want to just be able to generate some content that's different from person A to person B, or throw somebody's name on, or if they call in, get back to them super quickly. But are they really thinking about the end-to-end experience? I'll just give you just a super quick example. My town, Lexington, Massachusetts, gave an incentive on solar panels. And if you bought solar panels, you'd get a reduction in your property taxes. Everyone started bombarding us with pitches for solar panels. One company sent a personalized URL that said, we've done the math, your house can get a 20% savings on your annual energy bill. I type in the URL, I get a Google Earth picture of my home with superimposed on my roof solar panels. It calculates how much energy, my longitude and latitude, my east-west orientation, how much energy those panels would bear. They went to Zillow, they got the square footage of my home, and used that to estimate how much energy I would use over the course of the year. They had the numerator and the denominator. It came out to 21.3%, and they guaranteed that savings. And that's adding value. That's thinking about the customer experience versus just sending me pitches that are 40% off, right? So think about that. How are you changing the fundamental nature of the way you sell, the way you interact, to use customer information to make a difference? I think most times we're just thinking about tools. We're not thinking about the emotion and the value to the customer.
Well, I love that, and that's a perfect segue into a question for you, Marbue, because you've helped so many large, medium, all these different businesses transition. You help them pick the tools, I gather. But there's so many providers now. There's so many options, different routes you can go. A lot of people are just intimidated and scared. How do you choose your tools as you start to implement AI?
Well, look, I think you first of all, let me start by piggybacking on something that David said, because I think that sometimes people again get enamored with the tools and the hype, but they should be focused on the use cases, right? And it's like, in a lot of cases, what people need to be doing is they need to be thinking about these types of intractable problems that they've been trying to solve, that they haven't been able to solve. And if AI can help them crack the code, that would be the way that they should go, right? And he mentioned one of those that people have been grappling with, the whole notion of the 360 view of 360 degree view of the customer, especially those touch points that the customer has touched before showing up at a particular doorstep, right? Now, the question is, when you start thinking about providers out there, and there's a lot of people who are, promising a lot of different things, but the question becomes, have these people actually been able to demonstrate a proficiency in being able to do that? And I won't give out any brand names, from the stage. People can talk to me offline to learn about that. But I know of a company that went in and said, we want to demonstrate value to you, so we're not actually even going to charge. Okay, and what they were focused on was something else that David had talked about, the whole notion of pulling information from the knowledge bases within the company and presenting it to customer service agents, so that instead of those folks putting a customer on hold for minutes to go research that stuff and come back and give an answer to the customer, they would have that information populated for those agents in seconds. And basically eliminating or minimizing the wait time for the customer, which is a total game changer for the customer in terms of their ability to deliver for the customer. But they made that available to their clients. It's actually a BPO organization, made that available to their clients at no charge, as a proof of concept to help those people understand. Of course, now they can scale that all over the place, but those are some of the kinds of things that you want to be looking for in tool providers. People who have a demonstrated capability that they've been able to do this for their customers, but also people who are willing to kind of joint invest on this so that they can get you to the next step. And bottom line is, you're going to get benefit out of it, they're going to get benefit out of it. And so if you all do that type of a partnership on it going in, long term, both of you win in a very big way.
Before I move to my question for Daniel, any thoughts from the panelists on this excellent answer?
So I absolutely agree with Marbue. A POC as part of the process is instrumental. I mean, it proves that they have that capability with your use case in mind, right? So you identify your business case, your pain points ahead of time. You have to have a clear path of what you want to resolve, and see if this vendor or partner is able to do that. And the proof is in the pudding, right? You want to make sure that this partner is going to work with you all along the way, because it should be a partnership, right?
Absolutely.
I love that. That's fantastic. Well, I think we've got about 20 seconds before the Q&A, but I'm going to try to speak fast. Daniel, just very briefly, I feel like you've steered a very powerful legacy and story of a company with many years of history into the future with this AI and automation. What's that been like? Was that hard? Was that like... That's a big question.
There's definitely challenges. It is a journey, so you need to think of this as a journey, right? Again, you identify those pain points. You start off from the beginning, have a well-defined business case. You get your leadership and stakeholders' approval from the top down, right? You have to have that because it's a journey, right? It's going to have to include every aspect of the company, right? Finance, security, legal, right? You have to have your NDAs before you ever get into a POC, right? So it is a journey, and one of the challenges is going to be, the main ones in my experience, which does delay things a little bit, is going to be around security, data privacy, and before before you even get into that POC aspect, that's one that you identify, but then as you start going further along the way, you have to make sure that the privacy, your security, all those stakeholders are aligned and the company is adhering to those. Because you have to see it, you have to see the mechanics. We've seen it in one of the other presentations. Oh, it looks great, here's the black box. I need to see every step of the way, where the data gets ingested, what all those aspects, what the mechanics are, how is it stored, what the retention period is, right? When is it obfuscated? If it is obfuscated or a request is there, how is it done? Prove that it is not, there's no residual data in the system. Because there's a lot of things, since we are a global company, if anybody knows about GDPR, that is very important.
That's excellent. I love that answer. I have 15 follow-ups, but I think we want to open up to the audience for Q&A. Do we have some questions for our panelists? Got a mic wandering around in the back here. Going once, going twice. And while we're looking for questions, any follow-up from the panelists on this sort of pivot from the amazing history and legacy into the future?
I want to follow up on just this very just quick piggybacking on what companies see as a downfall, or what are the I claim to not know about all companies and their downfall, but I think there's generally the information that's coming out is still so unknown that from my perspective, people move too fast or too slow. Not a lot of people are right in the middle. In the middle, you have to educate yourself to get to the middle. There's some companies that just say we're going to use it all, and then they overuse, and now they're stuck in a bad place. From our vantage point, we've been too slow. Not because we're slow at doing things, but we're just been very cautious in moving away from what we do very well. But there is movement that has to happen. So I think overall, it literally is somebody moves too slow or somebody moves too fast, and you've got to find a way to get to the middle to leverage the technology.
And this is all back to like we heard the other day by the whys. What is your why? You have to have a why.
And getting that perfect area of too fast, too slow, everybody struggles with that. I've never seen a company actually have the perfect equation. So we struggle as well. Sometimes we're too fast, sometimes we're too slow. You want to get to market, so you don't want to have something 100% all the way there, right? Get there. You get 80%, the rest is going to come, especially once you start getting data in and getting experience, then you retrain the model, right? Because it's a model, right? We're talking AI, right? So it's machine learning. You're going to retrain that. You're going to get more data. It's going to get better and better over time.
But that's also why you have to be purpose focused. What is your use case? What is the goal that you want to achieve in terms of changing a customer experience? Because if you just bring in AI to bring in AI and try a general capability, it's too many fronts at once, it's too vague. If you're focusing on changing a customer experience, so for example, for us, when I was CMO at Aetna, one of the big challenges was onboarding. People don't understand their health insurance. How many of you understand your health insurance, right? We did a survey, 7% of people understood health insurance. So we had to focus on that. So we needed to educate people, and we found an AI capability to generate personalized videos that could explain, using animation, your individual health insurance. Who in your family is covered? Do you have primary care physicians? Are you eligible for certain benefits? And that was very focused, and we could put a team on that, we can see the impact on that, we can drive to make it better, we can test and learn. We got 70% of people to watch a 3.5-minute video. That's pretty good. 20% call reduction in the call center because people understood their health plans. So a whole bunch of things came out of that were positive, but it was focused, and you can put a team on it and measure it. So I'd advise you not just to get a tool, but point it towards something.
Yep, and I think about the example that you just gave, and David, it makes me think about another one of those perennially intractable problems, and that is, how do you parse, unstructured data? Right? Look, companies have communications with their customers every day that are unstructured. You have agents on the phone or in chat or in email having interactions with customers, but all that data is unstructured, right? Now, if you want to take that information and you want to, extract themes from that, and you want to extract sentiment from that, and you want to extract, you want to take that and synthesize it and extract insights from that. That's something that companies struggle with mightily, right? But this is one of the things that conversational AI is good at. It's good at language. It's good at understanding those kinds of things and being able to, find that, there's these like 5 themes that keep coming up in the things that people are complaining about or that agents are having conversations about. And some of them might not be complaints. Some of them might be ideas, customers' wish list of things that the company could do for them that the company's not doing. And you don't really have any visibility into that because all of this is just, it's unstructured information that's, sitting there in text or in video clips or in audio, and you don't have any way to parse that. Well, this is the kind of thing that AI enables you to parse and to mine and, in ways that we couldn't do that before, right? And so that will enable you now to do things for your customers, make new innovations that enable them to get the things that are on their wish list. And let me tell you, sometimes people don't ask for stuff because they don't think anybody would ever even consider giving it to them, right? But they will allude to these things in conversations and stuff like that. Makes me think, and I'll just do this story quick. I was on a plane, and the flight attendant came around and she was asking for drinks, and I said, I'll have tea. She said, well, you have cream and sugar with that. I said, no, I won't. But I'll tell you what I'd like to have, so maybe the next time I'm on a flight I can get it. And I said, I'd like to have honey with my tea. So she says, oh, you want honey? That you have to be in a different class of service to get that. And then she said, but you know what? Give me your tea back, because she had already poured out my tea. She says, because when I come back, it'll be cold and that just won't do. So I'm thinking she's coming back to give me my, plastic cup or whatever and a thing of honey. And she brings me and my wife ceramic mugs with our jars of honey for our tea, right? Now, you know what? She went above and beyond. I keep telling that story all over the place. Virgin was the airlines. Okay, but bottom line is a lot of times people don't even ask, right? But it's in that unstructured data that hasn't been parsed. And that's one of the things that AI enables us to access.
So you can take all these thousands of chats, and instead of having these horrible meetings, I'm sure we've all been in at larger companies, where it's like, oh, try to pick the top 5 action items from our customers. What are the top 3 complaints? It's like, I don't know, I'm just going to pick something. Well, now you know. You know what people want. I love it. So my takeaways from this are, don't overuse dazzling. Wear a button that says human inside. That's going on my dating profile. And just balance that human approach and value and listen to your customers. And just want to check one more time, do we have any questions or? I thought I saw the mic back there. No, this is really excellent. And the only other thing I was going to ask really quickly was, we've heard a lot about tackling your problems with AI, being clear about what you're trying to solve, and chatted with a few experts about how you can look at a mountain of problems and be overwhelmed. Might it be useful for these organizations who are just getting started to say, pick one small area and kind of test out your approach and make your mistakes, and then choose another area and kind of slowly expand instead of saying, I'm going to transform the entire organization overnight?
I would agree with that, but you still want to identify your areas, right? Your list could be 25, could be 5, could be what have you. Target one, right? And hopefully it's going to be the top one that's going to give you the best return on investment. But you may say, that's too hard for me to do, it's going to be big. So you go down the line, but you choose one, right? And try that out, right? See what the process is, right? And you'll find that as you go through that process and get to fruition and try it out and see, you may pivot from there, right? You may say, that wasn't the right provider, that wasn't the right partner, I want to do something else. Or there's these areas within the process that we can streamline for the next go, right? Don't take on the whole world. And then again, like you said before, don't do it just to do it, right? Make sure that there is value in what you're trying to accomplish.
I think that's a wonderful closing thought there, and I just wanted to kind of go down. Thank you for that, Daniel. Chris, do you have anything to add to that?
Nothing to add. I mean, we actually just did that. You know, like I said, we've been slow to the punch on it, but we identified 2 areas, and we always look at an area corporately that aids our franchisees, and then we look at an end user guest, you know, that the franchisees pass down. So our focus as we went through everything became on the franchisor side, teaching and learning elements for the franchisees to make it easier for them to operate their business. So we went with more of a learning module for our franchisees, and then marketing and digital and getting more footsteps in the door was really the franchisee, what they needed, you know, to push down to the guest. So that's just where we started our focus, and we tried to pick 2 things, but one on each side of the fence. So they're getting things in multiple areas. So we went with learning and marketing, knowing there's 100 other things we can do. Those were the obvious choices for us.
And David, did you have one quick takeaway for the audience? And we'll get to Marbue too. We've got about 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, sure. So one of the most important things is to recognize AI is about learning. The intelligence is learning. You're testing and learning. And so use that philosophy yourself. It's about experimentation. So it's not about just broadly transforming, because that's going to be daunting to do. Think about test and learn. So focus on a particular area and test and learn, and do it as fast as you can. The other thing we talk a lot about in my book is speed, is the importance of being able to get more test cycles, having teams who can work together without a lot of handoffs, who are empowered to get something done towards an objective. It may take moving people around, it may take breaking some of the constraints in your organization. Speed matters. The faster you can test and learn, get more experience, get more data, the more you can feed your own capabilities and literally feed the AI. So challenge yourself as well, not just where to focus, but how to get it done, and how fast can you get it done.
I love that. And Marbue, I'm going to hand you our last 90 seconds. You want to bring us home? What's your takeaway?
Cool. So, you know, I've talked about those problems that people have been trying to solve for a while, but we don't only want to live there. There are new things that AI can do that we didn't think about before, and they are, you know, critical to customer experience. I would imagine that in this audience, there's got to be some Costco and or Sam's Club shoppers, right? Anybody ever get caught in a traffic jam trying to get out of the store? Okay, well look, you know, Sam's Club has introduced something that they're rolling out across the country, but the whole idea is instead of having people at the door to check, they're using AI to do it, right? They're using AI to basically look at what's in your cart, all right? And figure out whether those things in your cart have been paid for, so you don't have to be in a traffic jam getting out the door. That's something that people wouldn't have thought about doing before, right? Or Toyota, you know, if any of you have like a Toyota or a Lexus and you know they have their destination assist, well, they have transitioned to having a lot of destination assist handled not by humans, but by you know, an AI assistant. But the flip side of that is, in training that AI assistant to recognize a lot of different accents, they actually realized that for even more complex problems, the AI can recognize more accents sometimes than a live person can, and makes it easier, even if it's assisting that person, right, to be able to deliver a better service for the customer, because it can understand their accent better, right? So think of it as the AI basically closed captioning for that rep, so that they can see and fully understand the customer's request and be able to deliver. So be imaginative. There are problems that you're trying to solve that AI can help you solve. Some of them you hadn't thought about before. They're not the ones that you've been knocking your head against the wall trying to solve, but it's got possibilities for you.
I love that. Be imaginative. And with that, we'll close down. Can we get a round of applause for a wonderful session?